Hi, my name is Michael Ryan. I'm an assistant professor of sociology in SSH here at Nazarbayev University. I'm also the very proud recipient of this year's Inclusive Teaching Award. I'm originally from a small town in West Central Indiana in the United States called Waynetown, and I earned my PhD in sociology from the University of Maryland at College Park in 2013. Since then, I've held academic positions across 5 continents, arriving most recently at NU in the fall of 2019. I've always been very lucky in life in that I've known exactly what I want to do, and that is to teach. And that's one reason why this award is so particularly meaningful. I'm also a very committed activist, scholar, and educator around issues of diversity and inclusion. And that's another reason why this award is so particularly meaningful for me. My teaching philosophy is embedded in a view of education as an opportunity to empower minds and a responsibility to encourage growth. I tend to approach teaching as a process rather than a plan, and as a two-way interaction-based dynamic of teaching and learning, where my goal is to teach students how to learn, and in return, they allow me to learn how to become a more effective teacher. Empowering students through education and broadening minds through critical thinking are really at the heart of my teaching philosophy. My first priority when teaching is not only to instruct students on particular social scientific research, but more importantly on how to learn and how to understand social science in general. I view the most central component of my teaching as teaching how to learn. The content certainly matters, but the process certainly matters more. I treat the classroom as an open learning environment, and I try to tailor each class to the specific idiosyncrasies that come out in that setting. That approach allows for greater flexibility to adapt to the unique atmospheres and the unfolding dynamics that happen in any particular classroom and with any particular set of students. And these techniques have certainly been very beneficial, especially during the, let's just call them uncertain times of pandemic teaching. Why do I enjoy teaching students at NU? Well, quite simply, they're the best. I've taught at leading universities in 5 different countries in very different settings, and really NU students are very unique. And I mean that in the most positive of ways. I think probably my favorite thing about teaching students here is that they're so open to learning. Uh, they're no less religious or no less political than students I've had elsewhere, but they are far more open to putting those things aside in order to learn. They're able to understand different sides of an issue, and they're curious to do so. And really, curiosity is at the heart of learning. Their willingness to be challenged uh, and to challenge back is just one of the many things that makes the students here really so unique and so wonderful. I actually have a lot of answers here, but in lieu of listing a string of names of teachers who've influenced me, and there's certainly been many, I'd be petrified to forget one of them. I would say that the teachers that inspire me most are those who speak truth to power, who are unafraid to be themselves, and who who really understand the importance of critical thinking and science and research, and who do all of that while still being sensitive to the needs and social positions of others. To me, teaching isn't about telling people what to think. It's about helping people to become better thinkers, and particularly better critical thinkers. I'd also like to say that some of my best and most important teachers have been those that I encountered outside of the classroom. For me, teachers are not just those who are paid to teach, but rather those who enrich our lives, either through imparting knowledge or serving as examples or just generally guiding us to be more informed, better rounded, more humanistic human beings. The first piece of advice I would give is to not be afraid to make mistakes. Teaching is in many ways about learning, and that's a good thing. Knowing information doesn't make someone a good teacher. Understanding how to communicate information and impart knowledge in a way that is both intelligible and meaningful to your audience is what makes someone a good teacher. I would also say engage in conversations with your students. Find out what your students need to learn, and more importantly, what they need to be able to learn. Memorizing facts is one thing, and that's great, it's very useful, but learning how to learn is something else entirely. And that should be the real goal of any good teacher. I would also say listen, be open to feedback, figure out what works best for you, which may or may not be what works best for others. Allow your own individual strengths to shine through as an educator. Bring what is uniquely you to the classroom. There's no right, particularly one way or one method or one strategy to being a good teacher. Find out what works for you and what works for your students and build on that. I'd also say to treat each classroom and each student as a new opportunity to educate. Again, there's no one formula to being a good teacher. What works in one classroom or for one student might not work in all classrooms or for all students. Teaching should be viewed as a process, not as a destination. More importantly, enjoy it. If you enjoy teaching, then your students are certain to pick up on that, and then they're going to be much more open to learning and to enjoying learning. Education doesn't have to be torture. It can be fun. It can be funny. It can be exciting and engaging. And it can be all of those things without losing the driving mission of importing knowledge and expanding minds.